Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Jamaica Roots TV. Hope you're all doing well today. Thank you for liking the video and thank you for subscribing as well. So by now, many persons may have heard about the recommendations, the ruling that was made by the Public Defender's Office in Jamaica, OPD. And of course, these recommendations are in stark contrast to the ruling of the Director of Public Prosecution, which is Paula Llewellyn. So we don't know what will take precedence, right? Would the DPP's office be forced to act on the recommendations made by the Public Defender's Office, right? Who has a stronger arm? Can she be forced into arresting the police officer, or would she have to get some pressure from up top? So we don't know. Let's see how it plays out. The Public Defender's Office, though, did make some recommendations a few years ago, about 7 years ago, on the Rastafari situation, the Rastafarians from Coral Gardens, right? And up until now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I've been doing some research and I don't see any money paid out to them. What they got was like an elderly facility, and this was done by Minister Babsy Grange's office, right? So they had some elderly homes, plus they had some land to go with it for farming. But I didn't see any money paid out. If they've received it, then that's good. But I've done a lot of searching and I did not see any money paid to them. And of course, the Public Defender's Office had recommended that they be compensated, right, for what they went through. So it's the same office, right? So it's 7 years, so I don't know. Let's see if they have any clout. The differences between them and NZINGA is that, NZINGA is properly represented, right? So let's see what happens, because I know that our lawyer, Isaac Buchanan, is going to be making a case, a civil case. So meaning that they would have to compensate NZINGA for, whatever she went through. So let's see how it goes. It's interesting that the Public Defender's Office came up with all these recommendations, right? And we're going to go through the recommendations. So let's see what she had to say. So the Public Defender, Arlene Harrison Henry, is recommending that the police corporal who was accused of cutting NZINGA's King's hair be charged with assault after an investigation by her office found that the woman cut the teenager's locks out of revenge. So that's number one. Harrison, in a 67-page report on the incident that sparked public outrage, made a raft of recommendations, including damages for the assault that was committed by the police and the violation of her constitutional rights in respect of cutting of her hair. Okay, so of course we know that NZINGA King is a 19-year-old student from Clarendon, and there was an altercation in a bus or a taxi park in Maypen with her and police officers, right? She had one story and they had another story. And the NZINGA's story went like this. She was in a taxi and the taxi was pulled over, and there was a request made by the officer for a gentleman who was sitting in the taxi to come out of the taxi. The gentleman refused to comply with the police officer's request, and then the police of course sprayed the taxi. There was a baby in the taxi as well when this act was committed, allegedly. as per NZINGA's account of whatever took place. The police officer had another account of what took place, right? Saying that she was boisterous and not cooperating and all of that. So eventually she was arrested for disorderly conduct, not assaulting a police officer, as we've seen in a couple reports. That was incorrect, right? And also she was charged for not wearing a mask. Of course, NZINGA said she could not continue to have the mask on her face because there was pepper spray on it because the officer sprayed the vehicle. So I think they should look into all of these things as well. But it's going to be hard to prove, you know. And there must have been people there on the spot or in the taxi who could, kind of support all these allegations or clarify some of these things. Anyways, she was taken to the police station and she was arrested and locked away and all of that. And her hair was cut while she was in custody as per NZINGA. So because of all of this, her religion is, of course, Rastafarian. And, of course, this is a violation of her human rights. Even if she was not Rastafarian and someone took a scissor to your hair, it would be the same thing, right? So the big thing is, again, is that NZINGA was taken to court and there was a ruling that she should pay $6,000 or 10 days in jail. So she was taken back to the Four Paths station until they could come up with that money. She spent 5 days in jail. So she did 5 days out of the 10. So 50% of her sentence was completed. But still yet she was charged $6,000. So this recommendation is also saying that she should be reimbursed a portion of that money, which I think is half. Okay? And some news reports again were saying to reimburse her the full $6,000. That's not the case. She did half of the sentence, so she should not have been required to pay the $6,000. It should have been 50%. Sorry, this is the way they trample on the poor rights, right? And Zinga King also alleges that her dreadlocks were cut because the police said they were a suicide risk. After months of delay in the investigation, which was turned over to Indicom by the police, the Director of Public Prosecution, Paula Llewellyn, had recommended that the police corporal should not be charged. A similar recommendation was made by Indicom. Harrison in a report said there was no material evidence to support the argument that King's hair was cut because she was Rastafarian. The cutting of Miss King's hair was inspired by revenge and venom in response to Miss King's undeniable, deplorable conduct, the report said. Right? So what this is saying is because of NZINGA's behavior, they decide to discipline NZINGA. A sad piece of history, because a lot of Rastafarians will tell you that they were trimmed by police. So this is like, I'm cutting you down to size. I'm going to discipline you by trimming your hair because they know it means so much to them, right? So it's the same concept here. We're going to teach you a lesson, basically, that's what they're saying, and forcibly bring home to her who run things, meaning we're going to show you who is in charge here. As a result, Harrison is recommending that the corporal be charged with assault occasion bodily harm or assault at common law and further. So I don't know why there are two different recommendations for charges. So they must know, I guess they will pick one, but which one is more serious? That disciplinary action be taken against her by the police force. The office of the DPP should therefore develop an interest in her conduct at the Four Paths police station towards Miss King. There cannot be any serious question as to the identification. The issue is purely one of credibility. The public defender also called for the corporal supervisor, an inspector who was on duty at the time of King's alleged haircut, to face disciplinary action for not taking any steps to prevent the criminal conduct or failing to act, having discovered negligence in her duties. So the public defender is also recommending that the supervisor be, pulled up. So face disciplinary action for, not doing anything after knowing about whatever took place there. So failing to stop it and failing to implement any corrective actions, right? And we discussed about the return of a part of the fine, so we're not going to look at that. Okay, so of course Paula Llewellyn came out and made her statement, and we've already reviewed that as well. So she's basically saying that the public defender did not have enough information to make these recommendations. I wonder how the public defender feels. Okay, so we'll see what happens. We'll see how it plays out. Who has a stronger arm? Is it the public defender or the DPP's office, Director of Public Prosecution? We'll see how it goes. So thank you for liking the video. Thank you for subscribing. And we'll see you on the next video. Take care of yourself and others.